season.
How does it feel? Not good, Tupac. Not good.
Not great, dude.
Season's over. I mean, it was over 4 days ago, but we didn't know.
We didn't need it was over, but it wasn't even like we got to have an unceremonious closing. Like we got evicted. We got evicted from the season.
The cops came over and kicked us out of the house.
I've been there.
Yeah. Well, were you running down the street with a keg at the time?
Perhaps.
I like
One time there was a time where we had a party it was actually just blocks away where our house was. And we had buddied up with the Knights of Columbus, who had a lot of cops. And then the cops came by to the party, and then everybody's like, Swarm, get out of here. I'm like, I don't know, those are our friends.
so here's the problem I have with the way this season went. You won 2 games in the play-in against two teams that were equally as bad as you. But you didn't win anything. Right? You won, but in the end, they win. Because now they get a better pick or a better opportunity.
That's true.
And
the only thing I would say is for the Heat, and I think this is what they wanted, because the pick that they would have gotten most likely would have been 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. Maybe they had the chance to jump up. Maybe something crazy would have happened. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But if it didn't, and they would have been stuck there, then you are hung out to dry. Because let's say things go really bad next year. Let's say things take a step back. Let's say something horrific happens to one of your guys, and you're not mediocre. You're got an unprotected pick out to OKC because it would have been unprotected. And then the Terry Rozier pick 2 years later would have been unprotected. So you've been really hanging out without a safety net.
Right.
Now, your debt is paid. Your debt is paid for the Jimmy Butler thing. You got the 20th pick. So you didn't drop that much in the draft this year. You know, you kind of made up for it. You got your own pick next year. So they can do whatever they want this year. If the Heat did want to take a step back year and tank, they could do it this year because they got their own pick. And now they got protections on the Charlotte pick for at least a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why the Heat were so intent on making the playoffs. If they wouldn't have done it, it really was, well, we better get a top 5 pick to change this franchise or you're really screwed. Right. So that's kind of the one benefit, Leroy, of like, yeah, you didn't get a better pick than those guys, but you also didn't get that much worse a pick of a situation if things would have stayed the same outside the bounce of some lottery balls. The Heat had their chance to go for lottery balls. It was after losing 10 straight games, and the decision was, should you shut down and just have a real shot at a top 4 pick? Because they could have really gotten the pooper if they wanted to. They could have gone behind Toronto, and they didn't. They bounced back. They won 6 games. So, like, you're talking 2%. Like, you're not getting 20% at a top 4 pick or 15% to be in the no. So once you went back to, you know, slightly below mediocrity instead of god awful, you might as well just try and gun for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of setting that precedent in your building, right? There's one thing to just be bad. It's another thing to go out of your way to let your players who've been in an organization for however long thinking that that's not acceptable.
Agreed. I mean, I'll give you an example of somebody who did it recently and got crushed for it. Now, this is a bad person to go to now because, man, all-time gaff trade. Whew. But the Mavericks did it the year before they made the finals. They tanked the end of their season. They ended up getting a draft pick because it would have gone to another team. And they got Lively, who was obviously very big in their finals run.
Right.
So I think I think any good organization's allowed a mulligan year to do it.
Yeah, but it here. if you're still preaching the same things you preach and you lose, that's different than preaching something totally different and BSing your players and having them go out there and lose or putting them in a position to lose to get a pick. You see what I mean? And so from that standpoint, I understand that if you put that Heat uniform on, you're required, and we are required to play and perform a certain way as it's been done for years.
Sure.
And so from that standpoint, to say, okay, we're going to sit Bam or we're going to sit Tyler, or we're going to do this, right?
But but we go up and down. Give me the team that hasn't done it. Everybody.
No, I know. I give you an example of how it happened, but
even the Heat did it. I mean, they did it 15 years
easily.
ago, 16 years ago. They did it. And understand, so Dwayne Wade was hurt. It was over. Like the championship window had closed.
Yeah, but it's not that situation. See, Dwayne Wade got hurt, and then boom. Okay, that's not what this situation would be. And so that, like, the one thing you have to be in your front office in your organization is consistent, right? You can't ever, the way this Heat team and the organization preaches and promotes, effort and whatever, you can't ever give the impression that we're giving up for whatever reason. And fans don't see it that way, but you don't ever want to set that tone, i.e. Philadelphia. Right? Because Philadelphia set that tone years ago with the process, and now all those guys they acquired and got in that process don't know how to win.
Oh, did that stop Shea with OKC though? Like maybe it's just because
but OKC was just bad.
Understood, but they still had it. They had an MVP. Like
right.
It's not like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is a loser.
No. See, I'm not. But you miss what I'm saying. Like going out and trying to win but lose is different than going out and say we're going to lose if you're the Heat.
I understand, but
I appreciate the fact that they stay consistent as an organization with who they are. However, times have changed, and you need to know what you have.
Well, this is the thing that's tough, though, right? Like, because you guys know, all right, old Tobes, I love the whales, and I love going after orcas, and I'd love today to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo and his wife's Instagram post. Could be something, could be nothing, which maybe I still will. But it is a fair question to anybody other than Milwaukee sucks and I want to live in the sun. What is he going to get here if he was to leave? Because I think it would have been one thing if Tyler and Bam would have even put up a valiant gentleman's sweep. But to have a record-breaking curb stomp series, what star is going to look at those two guys and be like, yeah, let me hitch my wagon to them? Now, maybe you just trust the Heat because they'll have more assets. It's a more clean slate than Milwaukee because Milwaukee's dead team walking right now.
If you get Giannis, you ain't gonna have no assets.
Probably, yeah. You're gonna have to give up a lot.
It has to be the guys you have on the roster right now and your draft pick.
I think that's the thing where it's like, look, and maybe this is me maturing. I don't know, because maybe Riley has a rabbit out of his hat.
The fact that you said mature.
No. I think I'm maturing. But I was talking about this. With Joe. We were walking up. Joe forgot his phone, so I walked up the stairs with him today, and I was like, maybe it is a step back year. Maybe it is one of those years where you let Bam. You have a talk with Bam. I don't know what you do with Tyler because Tyler wants an extension, and I think if you're going to take a step back, maybe maybe it is time for that. You
can't have him averaging 30.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's one of those. Maybe Bam's like, no, trade me, and they have to make that decision. I think there's going to have to be a tough decision with that.
Bam don't want to be traded.
I don't think so. But maybe the point is, and I'm not calling for anybody to leave their job or whatever, but maybe the point is this is the year where the Heat say, we take a step back, we get whatever pick we do, Maybe it's top 10. I don't know. I mean, hell, they were a win better than the Blazers this year. They weren't very good, guys.
Yeah, but while
And
this was
you
going on,
play.
you didn't want to say that.
I did say it.
Okay.
We played a clip of me saying there would be a unicorn running through my house if they were in, for them to win the play-in. So
Where's that unicorn now?
they were, and by the way, they were the worst fourth quarter team in the league this year.
Oh my goodness.
They were awful. Their plus minus in the fourth quarter was league leading. They were awful. And so maybe this is a year where you look around and you're like, bam, this one's gonna suck. But Dwayne Wade went through it. He did it with all the kids where he wanted Lamar Odom. Now they still made the playoffs. And they were able to load up a little bit to obviously get the cap space. But your cap space is going to be in a better position next year because Terry and Duncan, I mean, they could clear Duncan and clear $10 million, but you could have one more year at Duncan Robinson and have him come off the books with Terry. A lot of money coming off. And then you could figure out wherever that pick lands. Maybe you want to trade it. Maybe you want to use it. I don't know. But you'll be in a clear spot. Luka doesn't sign an extension. Goron's in the front office. You have talk with Body. You talk with Brate. I just think that you'll be in a better spot than right now because we've talked about the options. What are the options, Leroy? We're talking star with a lot of baggage or young star with a lot of baggage. I'll use that star loosely. We've said the names, Zion, Trey, Ja, whatever. And then Hail Marys, which, okay, you use all your assets to get those guys. What are you left with?
Right.
Are you left with a 5 seed? Maybe. I don't know. Unless
Well, it'd be the best you've done in 3 years, even if you ended up with a 5 seed.
Yeah, I guess. But that's where the Bucks are. Like, is Giannis signing up to leave the Bucks to go to the Bucks?
Yeah, but you have to understand all the other teams ahead of Giannis. Do they really need Giannis? So, from that standpoint, I think there's going to be a lot of teams, if this should happen, that would have an opportunity, right, to get him. Now, I would say what's kind of crazy is look at a team like Detroit. Who would they move to get Giannis with Cade?
I mean, they could trade one of the Thompsons. They could trade Duren. They could trade Holland. I mean, they got pieces. I mean, is that, you know, this is the other thing too. Like, look, are the Bucks going to pull a Blazers and trade him wherever they want? Or are they going to do right by him and say, okay, you only want to go to a premier market like the Knicks or Miami or LA. Will they do right by him? Look, we're scarred. I mean, usually that always goes in the direction of the guy gets to go where he wants to go. That's usually how it always goes.
Except when they're dealing with the Heat.
Except when it didn't, and it ruined the franchise.
I mean, did we dodge a bullet?
I don't think we did. Because I feel like if Damian Lillard was here last year, I feel like everything changes. I feel like
because maybe Jimmy wants to stay.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, I think it's.
I don't care what the circumstances are. I don't think Pat Riley was extending Jimmy.
Well, what if they make a deep run that year? Like if they make a deep run with Damian Lillard, and things change, Leroy. Yeah.
I mean, I can't. I guess
I understand.
You're right.
I understand why people say dodged a bullet, but
I mean, we get. You know why? Because we get that from you,
me,
dude. That is your way of being a flip flopper.
That's not true.
Dodge the bullet.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Really?
Don't look at me like that, Dan.
No, I'm saying everybody plays the result. But honestly, Damian Lillard the past 2 seasons has been a top 10 scorer and a top 10 assist guy. You think last year with Jimmy Butler, they couldn't have made some type of deep run?
Well, the other thing too is for whatever reason, and him and Giannis worked like mayonnaise and peanut butter. Like it just didn't work.
Two of my favorite things.
It was strange. He had a this is the place he wanted to be. He is very close with Bam, and Jimmy was all on board with it, and it not happening. him going to Milwaukee where he's like coming off a divorce, didn't want to be there. You make it good because it's like, I'm playing with Giannis. I can't be a rat bastard about it.
Right.
But like also Giannis isn't. We've talked about how Bam and Jimmy are not conventional stars. Like they want to defer a little bit. Giannis doesn't want to defer. He wants 30-20s.
Right.
Which, by the way, I mean, that loss they had yesterday, we got to get into that too. Oh my God.
Wait, and leave it to Halliburton. He is like basketball Kachuk, right?
He is a little bit. And
He-
now we see where he gets it from.
Everybody's irritated and pissed off at him.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we will get into a little bit more of the hockey as they have a big game tonight. Game 5 between the Cats and Bolts. Take a break. More to come here on the show. Back after this.